Hate Part 2. Today we're talking about how hatred is a heart issue, and we're going to 2 Samuel chapter 13 verses 23 to 39. If you're curious what Bible I'm using, it's the Courage for Life Study Bible for Women, and I have it linked below. So let's get into it. This passage is about Absalom's revenge on Amnon. I'm going to do a little summarization. So Absalom invited all the king's sons to come to a feast. King David said, "No, my son, if we all came, we would be too much of a burden on you." But Absalom kept pressing him, and he said, "Well, how about just sending my brother Amnon with us?" The king wondered why Amnon, but Absalom kept on pressing the king until he finally agreed to let all his sons attend, including Amnon. So a feast fit for a king was prepared. Absalom told his men, "Wait until Amnon gets drunk, then at my signal, kill him." Now, I had never heard this story, so I was like, what is going on? But they did listen to him, and at his signal, they killed Amnon. And all of the other king's sons fled. When the news of this reached King David, he was told that all of his sons were killed. And King David tore his robe and threw himself on the ground. But then King David's nephew came and told him that not all of his sons were killed, and that it was only Amnon. And he said that Absalom had been plotting this ever since Amnon raped his sister Tamar. As King David was learning all of this, Absalom escaped. Now, this is the point where I actually went back and read the first passage of chapter 13, the rape of Tamar, because I had no idea what they were talking about. But like I said, Absalom had fled, and he went to his grandfather and stayed there for 3 years, and then King David, now reconciled to Amnon's death, longed to be reunited with his son Absalom. So let's see what we're learning here. After Amnon raped Tamar, his love for her turned to hate, and he cast her away. Tamar was Amnon's half-sister, who was very beautiful, and he had fallen deeply in love with her. But he couldn't stand the fact that he could not have her, which led to this situation. So Absalom found out what Amnon had done, and he hated Amnon deeply, which any of us would too. And even though King David found out what had happened, he did nothing. So 2 years after it happened, Absalom invited his brothers to a feast. When Amnon got drunk, Absalom gave the signal, and Amnon was killed. Afterward, Absalom fled to Geshur. I know I'm probably butchering all of these names, so just bear with me. For 2 years, Absalom's hatred toward his brother festered until he finally acted on it. Jesus taught that evil thoughts and murder come from our hearts. When we are hurt by others, our hearts are prone to hate and to seek revenge. But hatred and revenge are not God's ways of dealing with conflict. We must guard our hearts carefully, preventing them from ever walking down the path to hate. So here's a helpful prayer for this. Lord, you are love. Help me to love and forgive others as you have loved and forgiven me. For those of you journaling, write a commitment to stop evil thoughts such as hatred before they express themselves in harmful ways. And you can also read 1 John chapter 2 verses 9 to 11 and ask yourself, are you harboring hatred in your heart towards someone? Journal a prayer asking for God's forgiveness and his help in loving your enemies. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a blessed day.